Welcome, everyone, to Newman Congregational Church, United Church of Christ. I'm Jeff Green, I'm the music minister, and it's my great joy to welcome you here today to Pavane and other common music to soothe the soul. Yay. At this time, I would like to invite forward Reverend Dr. Laureen Bowers, who is the interim minister of Newman, and she will read for you the land acknowledgement statement that was approved at our annual meeting on February 12th, 2023. Laureen?
Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here this afternoon. And I just want to say how happy I am to be the interim here. Everybody I've met's been so wonderful, and I just want to say thank you to everybody. It's really been great. So here is the land acknowledgement statement. Newman Congregational Church, United Church of Christ, acknowledges that the Pokanoket tribe has inhabited the Sowims lands where our current meeting house stands for over 10,000 years. In 1643, Reverend Samuel Newman gathered our congregation and built the first permanent settlement here within the Rehoboth land purchased from the Massasoit Usamequin, great leader of the Pokanokets. As an institution standing on Christian principles, this church respects the Pokanoket people who continue to serve as stewards of these lands and waterways. We seek to undo the legacy of dehumanization and dispossession that makes the work of decolonization necessary. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with Indigenous peoples.
Thanks, Laureen. And I'll just say that we are in relationship with the Pokanokets. We're very close with the elders. They've come to services here, and it's really great to be able to honor their legacy. At this time, I want to invite everyone to silence their cell phones and take out all of their hard candies and wrappers and unwrap all your crinkly. It's totally cool. Do it now. You're happy with that. So this show, you're probably wondering, how'd you come up with other common music to soothe the soul, right? Well, Chris and I started practicing on Tuesdays about, I think it was in the fall, and when we were coming, we started doing works we had performed before, and we realized it was really kind of our refuge coming here every Tuesday to practice. It really kind of took us out of all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and the music really gave us that inner peace. And so we thought, wow, we should really think about doing a concert. And then Chris brought out the Pavane by Faure, and we thought, wow, that would be really cool to do. And that kind of became the landmark part of the show. And then we thought, let's look at some other pieces in that same vein. And that's what we're going to play for you today. So you'll notice a lot of the titles are about dreaming and, cradle songs and lullabies and things of this nature. So our hope for you is that we can touch you inside, and that maybe you can close your eyes and fly away with the music. We hope that's what happens. The first set are three works by Robert Schumann. They were all originally piano songs. We'd ask you to hold the applause to the end of the Schumann set. And we're hoping that these songs actually leave you humming and slumbering and dreaming.
kid, I come from a family of harmonica players. My dad and my brother bought me a harmonica on my 7th birthday and taught me how to play. And my dad would always put on the BBC, and there was always harmonica music. So my childhood was filled with harmonica music at home, on the radio, and I just assumed that harmonicas were everywhere. It was years later that I found out that a lot of the music that was on the radio, which in those days, almost all radio shows were live. They didn't have DJs and things. And a lot of the music was by Tommy Riley. People were writing music for him, and as you may have read in your program, he was studying violin in Germany when World War II broke out, and he was incarcerated for the whole war because he was Canadian. And he had his harmonica with him, and he basically spent the war learning how to play classical music on the harmonica. And one of the interesting stories is that they wear out, unfortunately, by another one. And so he, in those days, the British Navy was blockading the German Empire at the time very effectively, and the Germans could not get coffee. And as you may know, the Germans love coffee. And he was getting first aid parcels from Canada, and so he asked his family to send him coffee, and he swapped a pound of coffee for 14 chromatic harmonicas. Which got him through the war. Believe me, if I could get 14 chromatic harmonicas for a pound of coffee, I'd be very happy. Anyway, so he was one of the great inspirations for me, a wonderful person, an amazing harmonica player. If I can ever manage to play a quarter as well as he did, I consider myself very fortunate. And all of these pieces were arranged by him. And including this next set, and as you'll hear, some of the pieces later were actually written for him. So,
Thank you. And Tommy Riley, of course, as Chris has told me again and again, is one to really put the harmonica on the map for being able to play extensive literature like this. I think, Chris, you said previously it was thought of as a toy instrument before Tommy added to it, so quite impressive. The next set of works by Gordon Jacob are from a collection of 5 that were written for the harmonica and piano. They're the only pieces on the program today written specifically for the instrument. Gordon Jacob is a very prolific composer. He wrote over 700 works, and he's written a lot of great choral stuff that we have sung. He was a student and then a professor at the Royal College of Music in London. And one thing that's really cool is there he studied with Vaughan Williams, who wrote the next set of works we're doing after this, who's one of my favorite composers. So Gordon Jacob was a professor of theory, composition, and orchestration, and a significant part of his contribution is he arranged other people's works. So he's really a man of many, many talents. So now we'll play for you 2 works by Gordon Jacob, the Cradle Song, and the second one, Threnody, is a Greek tragedy theme. Gordon Jacob.
those two last pieces were written for Tommy Riley. Now, these next pieces, written by Ralph Vaughan Williams, were not written for the harmonica, they were written for the cello, so I have to play them on the biggest harmonica. He spent his youth cycling around England, collecting folk songs. He would cycle to a village, go to the pub, say, anyone around here sing some folk songs? And invariably somebody would say, oh, old Fred down the road, he knows some. So they get him, and Vaughan Williams would notate all this stuff. And he wrote down words and music for over 800 English folk songs, an amazing achievement, along with many of his other achievements. And he used a lot of these melodies. He particularly was fond of really nice melodies, and he used a lot of them in his compositions. And in this particular next set, there's 6 tunes, all of which are very nice. And he found ways of working them into a piece of music that just is like classical music, but they're all based on English folk songs. So you can hear I think it tells you in the stories of each of the songs in the program. And you can hear the singing qualities, like each one of these songs tells a story.
You guys, as the choir's heading to the top, we were just talking about this before, but we haven't performed in a concert setting since February of 2020. That was a concert at the First Baptist Church in America. We combined forces with our friends there and some other friends as a Let Justice Roll concert, which was originally then going to be performed in Newman in April of 2020, and then the world changed. And you know, here at Newman, we were over 2 years without any in-person services of any kind. So the choir's just been back in church for about a year. Palm Sunday celebrated a year. So a year and 2 weeks we've been back. And man, I love them. Man, I missed them. And I do not miss doing online music at all, to be honest with you. It's so great to be in person. I just want to thank all you guys for coming today because, you know, without you, there's no one to sing to. So thank you so much for coming out today. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful thing. You know, originally, Chris, we were going to do a separate concert, and I was going to do a separate choral concert, and then And then when we started getting into more, we thought it made sense to combine forces. So I thought to Chris, well, let's pick a couple of songs that the choir loves and knows that fit in with this theme of calming, soothing music, and things, of course, that work with harmonica. And that led us to these two choices. How Can I Keep From Singing, or My Life Flows On an Endless Song. It's such a beautiful melody. It's in our hymnal. It's in a lot of hymnals. It's wonderful. It does a nice little modulation, and it's just a gorgeous melody. And then Down in the River to Pray, you'll note, was originally published as a slave song from the 1800s. So these two songs are special to us, and we hope that they resonate with you. Thanks so much. There's a lot of people who helped make today possible, and I just want to thank all of the members of the music committee and the Newman staff who helped so much behind the scenes. Special shout out to Michelle and Bill and Sandy. Immediately following the concert, there's a reception through here at Memorial Hall, and you're very welcome to join us and come and speak to the singers and the musicians, and we'd love to talk to you and get your feedback. So that brings us to the Pavane, and the Pavane, by definition, it's a stately dance of the court. It was a dance of the aristocracy. It's depicted on the front cover of the program. That is a Pavane that you're seeing, often done with musicians in a formal, like kind of line-ish dance. I've known this piece strictly as an instrumental. I used to do it with Barbara on flute, and I'd play piano, and that's how a lot of people know Faure's Pavane, but in fact, his original version that he wrote was for piano and choir and for chorus, which I never knew. So once kind of Chris turned me on to that, I thought, wow, well, we should really do it with the choir. And that got us thinking, wow, we really need to arrange this because, you know, the way he wrote it and the way we're doing it are totally different because he rewrote it for orchestra. He wrote it for orchestra, choir, and dance. Actually, in the first staged full performance in 1891 had dancers as well as an invisible chorus and a chamber orchestra. So you guys are dancing, right? Just kidding. I love Faure's music. We did his Requiem here in 2014. It was May of 2014 we did that. Seems like so recent, and it's yet 8 years ago, if you can believe it, maybe 9 years ago. I used to be able to do math. But anyways, and I love the organ part of the Faure. It's so gorgeous. And in my musical studies, I was blessed to study with, in piano at Trinity College, I studied with Linda Lauret, who's an expert in French piano music. Debussy, Ravel, Franck, Faure, you name it. So I feel blessed to have studied with her. And then John Rose, my first organ teacher from Trinity College, is a world-renowned player of the French Romantic literature, featuring Franck and Guimont and Louis Vierne from Notre Dame. And so I am really going to try to do justice to my teachers today and do well by the French music. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Chris to say a few words about the inspiration we had with Paul Nelson and our arrangement.
Yes, it was like 20 odd years ago that Rhode Island Philharmonic contacted me and asked me if I would like to play with them, and I said yes. Didn't know what I was getting into. I wasn't playing any classical music, I played blues and stuff. And anyway, my friend and neighbor at the time, Paul Nelson, who lived across the street, I went to him, we were both putting our garbage out one night, and I said, I'm in this pickle. They want me to play with the orchestra, and I have no idea what to do. And anyway, he wrote a couple of pieces for me. He was a great composer. And he helped me. We sat down with this piece, which I listened to and loved, and we sort of chose all the best bits and put them on the harmonica, and out of the orchestral part. And so then, unfortunately, Paul is no longer with us, but he's here in spirit, because part of what we're going to play involves his arrangement. And Jeff and I have been, especially Jeff, have been taking this music for the orchestra, it's a great big orchestra, and squashing it down into probably the biggest instrument and probably the smallest. Anyway, and of course we love it. And just one of the many wonderful stories and quotes from Gabriel Faure. Music exists to elevate us as far as possible above everyday existence. So we're hoping that that is true for you today.